Right, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be setting up a propagation box. I've got this big, large container here that I've cleaned out. It's clear and I haven't poked any holes in it, but I'm not going to. I'm going to leave it like that. But I'm going to turn this into a propagation box where I'm going to, because I've got quite a lot of propagations just like placed around my room. So I'm going to put them all in one container to reduce the desk space that they're taking up. Because I've got a space under my grow light where this is already placed anyway. Not this grow light, I've got another grow light over there. And it's also going to allow me to put any begonias in here that require higher humidity for a while, to see if that really improves their growth. And yeah, so I'm going to show you how I'm going to set this up. And then I'm going to take some begonia cuttings because I've got my breakdance here, which I've been dying to take cuttings from, but I haven't yet. Because I wanted to wait until I had like space to do so. But I've got my breakdance here, which I've got these two leaves. I've got an eye on these two leaves here that are going to come off. I'm probably only going to take maybe 3 or 4 cuttings of this, because I think they grow multiple plants from each leaf anyway. So, right. So let's take this lid off. So I had plants in here previously, and I've just washed it out to get rid of any potential bugs or like fungus, just any germs, to get rid of everything so that we have a blank canvas to work with. And then I'm going to be using orchid bark, and so a mixture of orchid bark and sphagnum moss. This orchid bark I actually bought it on Amazon, and it's a lot more broken down, like composted, or kind of, it looks like it's composted. I think it's just where it's an old bag, I don't know, but you'll see what I mean when I pour it out. So this also has terracotta pieces in, and I'm going to use this instead of perlite. I'm not going to add any perlite because I think the mix of this with the sphagnum moss is going to be airy enough. I don't think we're going to have an issue. So I'm just going to pour in enough until I think there's enough in there. Let's cut this hole a bit bigger. I think at the moment I've only really been propagating, other than the just begonias and hoyas basically. I've got some peperomias propagating, but I wouldn't keep them in a humid environment. Whereas the hoyas and the begonias, I'd keep them in a humid environment. And I've also got my petunias. I bought them ready for my hanging baskets, so I'm going to propagate those as well. Let's get this. Okay. I think I'm only going to make the substrate about 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches deep. I can always pile it up more to one end if I need a deeper substrate, but ordinarily I'm not going to want it too deep. Right, you can't see what I'm doing. I'm going to change the camera angle slightly so you can see what I'm doing. It's not going to do it. Right, so far I've literally just poured in some, and yeah, that's going to be quite nice. So the consistency, it is quite broken down. It's not super chunky in terms of the pieces of bark, but the terracotta pieces are nice, and obviously they're not going to break down. I'm probably going to end up using the majority of my sphagnum moss in here. So I've got a new bag. And I'm going to cut it up as well. I don't want to keep it large chunks, only because when it comes to taking the propagations out, once they've rooted, I want them to come out easily. And if it's long fibre sphagnum moss, it's just going to pull up and disturb loads of other stuff. And I don't want to have to disturb the roots. So right, we're going to need quite a lot of this. Oh, there we go. Right, that should probably be enough. Let's let me change the camera angle so you can see what I'm doing. Right, so this is what I've got going on at the moment. Let me pull my sleeves up a little bit. Yeah, this is really chunky, so I'm gonna cut. I'm gonna need to stand up for this. I'm gonna cut, being careful not to get my hands. This is live sphagnum moss as well, which is good because then it'll hopefully grow a little bit in here. That's definitely going to be enough sphagnum moss, right? Right, that might be enough. I mean, it's not too chunky, so it's all right. And then I'm just going to mix this. I may have actually put too much in here. But I just want it to be nice and airy. Because then it's going to help the humidity. And the humidity is exactly what you want because the cuttings won't dry out. Won't dry out so quickly. It's actually a bit too thick. Right, I think that looks pretty good. What can you even see? Yeah, that looks pretty good. So we've got a mixture. The lighting's not very good, right? Cool. I think that's actually going to be it. And I'll just press it down slightly. That looks very good. Right, I'm going to move the camera again. Right, so I'm just going to quickly snip off those begonia leaves. So with these begonia breakdowns, I'm going to be cutting across the middle here, and then just placing that under the moss slightly, just keeping it nice and quite shallow, but I want it to have good contact with the sphagnum moss. I'm going to get rid of the stems. I'm not going to keep the stems. I know they can root and grow, but I'm just not going to keep them. And I've got a wider leaf here. This lighting is very strange, but it is what it is. And then again, I'm going to do the same where I just cut across the bottom. I think you can put these in and these will grow, but I'm just not going to because I've got a big plant anyway. Yeah, and I'll place that about there. So I'll have them relatively close together because I do have a lot of other things I'd like to propagate as well. Oh yeah, this is going to look so good when it's all growing. Right, other begonias. Oh no, let's do my right, I'm going to do one more of my begonia Sumatra green. The other cuttings of these have rooted, but they haven't yet started shooting. So I'm going to cut these ones across the veins, like so. And I'm going to make sure I take this out. I don't want anything else. Oh, I could. Right, I'm going to actually stick that one in and see if it grows because it does have a bit of leaf still left on it. So if I place this one about here. Actually, I don't want it touching the side. Place that about there, like that. And then with this cutting, I'm literally just gonna, let's stick it in right here in the corner so that it's kind of out of the way, but we're giving it a chance. So if it does grow, it grows, and if it doesn't, I'll remove it. Right, so I have a couple of deciduas here. So I've got the Decidia Arantha variegated white diamond. These are just in sphagnum moss at the moment, but I'm a bit concerned about the humidity that they're getting. So I'm going to place them in here and just see if they do a bit better. Because this is going to stay lovely and humid. Give them a better chance to root. And then I have the Decidia subspecies, I think that stands for. So I don't know what variety this one is. And as you can see, they're kind of dehydrated, not looking the best. So I'm also going to place this. I may lay this one down and try and get it to, if I kind of bury the nodes very slightly, just they've got contact with, there we go, kind of like that. Let's bury the end as well to give them a really good opportunity to root down. And because it's going to be so humid in here, they're going to root they can root in the air as well because of how humid it is. Right, and I've got a crinkle 8 cutting. This crinkle is not super crinkly. I'm actually going to cut this into 2 because we've got some, is it focusing? We've got some roots coming here, and we've also got some roots coming this side of the node, so I'm just going to cut below those roots there, and then place these both in, and they're definitely gonna root really quickly in here. If I don't want to place everything too close together, but I'll place the crinkles together because, let me put it here. There we go. Just right in the corner so they're out of the way, but they're going to root quite quickly because a lot of my hoyas do root really quickly. Any hoyas that I've taken cuttings of, they've rooted very quickly, especially the Crimson Princess and the Crimson Queen. They've both rooted real quick. Right, I've got my my lovely fittonia here. This is the one that was given to me by Stories and Succulents. I'm going to take a cutting of that right now because if you guys saw when I've previously spoken about this, I mentioned how I just loved it at Wisley when they've got the huge display of it and it covers like, I want to say like 5 meters of ground. They've just got it covered. I'm going to try and recreate that. So, well, not 5 meters of it, but I'm going to take a cutting to try to get like a more established plant, like a thicker plant, obviously in a bigger pot. So I've cut that there, but I'm going to cut that there again. So I've got 2 cuttings. I'll leave it like that. I don't want to take off too much of the plant, but I'm going to plonk these in over here. And we're going to hope they grow. Well, they will. I think they'll root really quickly. And I'll leave it like that. I don't want to take too many because I really do like having a nice full plant. I'm going to change the camera angle just because I'm not enjoying this angle and I don't really think it's capturing it very well. Right, so if you guys saw last year, or if you remember, I'll insert a picture. The hanging baskets I grew last year, I grew these trailing petunias in there. They're called Priscilla Tumbelina. Yeah, Tumbelina Priscilla. And I bought them last year online and I wasn't too happy with the way they turned up, but they did end up establishing really nicely. I've bought them a lot earlier this year because I want to get them nice and established. And I actually bought these from a garden centre rather than buying them online. So they sell them in these little cells. So I grabbed 8 of them because last year I only had 6. So these are going to fill out really good. And because they're so tall and it's so early in the year, I'm not going to have my hanging baskets ready. Like, they're not going to be out for another maybe 2 months. Whoops. Right, so I'm actually going to take some cuttings of these. I'm going to cut them all in half and root them in my propagator. If they don't root, they will. But if they don't root, I haven't lost anything because I'm going to need to keep these not pruned, but they're going to get out of hand by the time it's even warm enough to plant them outside. So I'm going to cut them all in half. What was I saying? I was just saying something. If they don't root, which they will, then it will create a more bushy plant anyway, because it's best that I cut them back to let more shoots establish. Yeah. So as you can see, like, let me grab one. I'll place this down and I'll grab one and show you. So like this one is so tall, I'm just going to snip it straight here and then plonk that in the soil. They're in these cells. I'm going to plant them up into 9cm pots. But as you can see, sorry if you can hear kids screaming outside. They're just in these little cells, which is really cool. I quite like that. Yeah. So I'm going to cut them. So I'm going to have 8 cuttings in here. And then once they root, I'm not going to leave them in here too long because I don't want them growing in here. Unless they do fine and they're growing well, I probably won't disturb them if they're obviously not taking up too much space. But I will end up putting these up into probably 9cm pots or a large cell trays maybe, but we'll see how I feel. So I'm literally just going to, I've got rooting hormone, but I don't think I'm going to need it, and I don't know where it is. Right, no, I'm not going to use rooting hormone. So I'm literally just going to just cut that like that. So we've got a smaller plant here now, and then place it into I know you can't see, but I'm literally just placing it into the soil, into the propagation mix. The box, the propagation box. My camera don't bend enough to really get down. No, it's not going to bend. So I'm going to do that with all of them quickly. So I could cut that into 2, but I don't think I will I? I'm not going to need that many, that's the thing. No, I'm not going to cut it again, otherwise I'm just going to have far too many that I'm not necessarily going to need. But I did take a cutting of one of these last year. Well, I didn't choose to take the cutting, it broke in transit. But it rooted so easily, and I actually put it in with one of my carnivorous plant mixes. So it was constantly wet, and it rooted, and it didn't rot off. They smell like a porn star martini, and I don't know why. Right. Yeah, I'm just gonna cut all these, place them in. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the exact same thing in my hanging baskets this year as I did last year, because I really liked it, and they smell so good. So if you guys haven't grown this variety of petunia before, definitely try it. I'd highly recommend. And they flowered for months and months and months. Only thing is because they're double flowered, they're not as beneficial for the insects as single flowered plants. But I have a lot of insect beneficial plants in the back garden, so I kind of, you know, it's a little bit of give and take. This is going to look so nice if they all grow in here, which they will. I'm confident. I think that's all of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Which one have I not cut? Oh, there's one there that's like relatively short, so I'll leave that because I'm not going to need 7 extra plants. But if you guys can see, so you can see I've just placed them all along here, and everything's nicely spaced, so it should grow relatively nicely. Yeah, so they should establish really nicely. And then these I'll be potting up, but I'll do that like off camera in a different at a different time. But definitely, I think, how much did I pay for these? They're like £1.60 each or something, £1.70 or maybe, I don't know, something like that. But I got 8 of them for £9.50 or something, round about there. So that's really good for 8 of them. If you compare, last year I paid, I think £8 for only 6, I think. And then one of them got damaged, so. Although I think they did refund me for that single plant, but I don't know, I can't remember. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to propagate, but I don't think at the moment there is. And I don't think there's any propagations that I want to move into here right this second. I do have my silver sword cutting, which that looks so dehydrated, it's unreal. I'm actually gonna, should I move that into here? Yeah, I'll move that into here because it hasn't looked like that for very long. It only turned like that about 4 days ago, and that just doesn't look promising at all. However, I don't know if you're going to be able to see, but right in the center there, it does have a little growing point. So if I put it in here, it's going to retain the moisture a lot better because the leaf is drying out, because that door's open, because the air in here is getting a bit drier. So let's get this out. I don't know if I want the soil in there, but I don't have anywhere else to put it. Right, let's try and get it out and then not let the soil get too far. Do we have any established roots? I'm really gently separating it. Okay, no, the roots haven't grown. Look, you see, the roots are just black. Yeah, there's no new growth on there. Like root-wise, the shoot looks like it's trying to shoot, but yeah, if the roots, oh, I don't know, that's very strange that it hasn't started growing new roots. I'll put it in here. If I lose it, I wouldn't like to lose it, but like, if I lose it, I won't be absolutely devastated. So I'll lay that down. I'm gonna bury the node, lay it down, and then because this is relatively moist anyway, I'm not going to give it a heavy watering, but I am going to spray it down. I've just got like a spray bottle. I'll give it a spray down in the places where I feel like needs it. All over, actually. Let's go all over. With the begonia cuttings, when I say begonia cuttings, the leaf cuttings, I just water using a spray bottle, but I literally just spray the leaf, and because it's such a wide leaf, a broad leaf, it just channels all the water down to exactly where it needs to go. So I just spray like directly on top of the leaf, and then it channels it right down to where the cut has been made, which seems to work for me. I've had no issues. I don't want to keep the hoyas too wet, but I'm going to spray them anyway. I'll keep an eye on this today. If it looks like the surface is getting a little dry, because obviously it hasn't, I'm not spraying enough in there for it to saturate right through. If it looks like the surface is getting dry, I'm going to water it again, just to make sure it doesn't dry out, because these are freshly cut plants which don't currently have root systems to sustain their moisture. It's really going to rely on the humidity in here and the moisture in the soil. So let's give it a little mist. One thing I'm going to watch out for as well in here is, because it's going to be so humid and warm all the time, it's going to be the perfect environment for any sort of fungus. So I'm going to keep an eye on that. I'm just trying to figure out if there's anything else I want to take cuttings of, because I feel like there is, and I can't really remember what. What other begonias do I even? Oh, they're all done. Yeah. Right, so I think that is everything I'm going to take cuttings of right now, and I've got quite a bit of space in there to do some more if I come up with other things I want to take propagations of. But for right now, I could do my polyneura, but I'm really enjoying that my polyneura is so long, so I'm not going to cut that. I could take a cutting of the cutting, because that's grown really well. I could do that, but I'm not going to do that right now. So I'm going to leave that there. I'll show you a quick 1-2 over, just to show you a bit more detail of what's in here. And then I'll give you guys, obviously we'll have regular updates on this. And it should be pretty fun to see as a bus how quickly things establish. I really feel like there's something else I wanted to say cutting of. I can't remember. It don't matter. I'll remember at some point. Right. Yeah, so I'll show you a quick look over it, and then that'll be it for the day. Right. Right, so I've got the crinkle 8 just here, the 2 cuttings. I cut it in half there and there. And then I've got the petunias all in the centre. Sorry about the bus in the background. They're so loud. Petunias in the centre, which I think they're going to root really quickly. And then I've got my sad looking philodendron hestatum cutting just there. And then over here I've got the dischidias, which I really hope root, but they just don't look very promising at the moment. I think the variegated one looks better than the non-variegated one, but we'll see. This water on top is not going to stay on there very long. It will evaporate once I've got the lid on. And then over here I've got my begonia breakdance cuttings, just 2. I know the lighting's not very good, but I'm fully confident they're going to grow really nicely. And then I've got my green Sumatra here, or sorry, Sumatra green begonia cutting. Just a single leaf of that. Oh, and the little guy up there. And then I've got the fittonia mosaic skeleton there. So that is everything for right now. And hopefully, I'm pretty confident everything's going to grow. Yeah, the only thing I'm not so confident on is the silver sword and then the dischidias. I've never had dischidias before, so that is definitely going to be a learning experience. And yeah. Right, so this is where it's going to be placed, directly under my Mars Hydro grow light. In this corner, there's my Hoya pubicalis. It's still growing all right, but it's really not enjoyed like the heat in this room during the winter. But yeah, it's going to be here, and it's going to get nice and humid. I will probably keep an eye on it. I would prop open the side or something, but I really don't think it's going to need it, because there's gaps in between the edges anyway, so I think it's going to be pretty okay there. Right, so I hope you guys enjoyed seeing that, and if you did, definitely leave a like and subscribe to see more. Let me know how well this method works for some of you guys, because I know that a few of you guys do have humidity boxes that you use to do your propagations in, and it's a really good idea because I always use propagators for all my stuff anyway. So yeah, so this is going to be good, and it's a nice big space that I can leave stuff in to get established a little bit before moving them out. Yeah, so if you guys enjoyed, please leave a like, and I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a lovely week.